Yeah, excited to be here, excited to get started again. Year 10 for us, and really pleased with the off-season work ethic of this team, the summer program. We had some outstanding testing numbers that I'm really excited about for our guys. We did our traditional combine, and then we also did a lot more non-impact cardio. We're trying to get guys in shape without putting the mileage on some of their feet. We're probably the healthiest we've been starting into a camp in terms of looking at the last 5 years, in terms of guys that were out, limited soft tissue injuries. So we are young. We've talked about that at media days, but we are hungry. We got a team that's fun to coach. When you go out to practice each day, they've been enthusiastic. They've been out there working out, like just doing all the things you ask. And like I said, a lot of them haven't had an opportunity to play, and now this is their opportunity. So sometimes when you're coaching, it's a lot more exciting for guys when they're having their first time. Now, that being said, the lack of experience sometimes can show, but we're going to try to get through that in camp. We are taking the approach in camp like we have in past years. Our numbers are still pretty good, so we'll approach the camp in terms of physical and mental toughness is one of our biggest goals to achieve. The second is probably creating good habits, like being on time, resting, recovery. Camp's a grind, and ours certainly is a grind. And then, connection, leaning on each other, staying in a hotel for, 8, 9, 10 days, 15 practices in 18 days, 2 scrimmages. It's not easy, and it's hot. So we want to really develop this mental and physical toughness we think carries us through the season. So our coaches have done a great job preparing for this and getting a lot of informative tape, NFL quotes, past history camps here, watching guys that are now in the league that came through here. The messaging has been real good, and we get to kick off today on the practice field. And I'll open it to questions, but anything you guys want to know about injuries, I can fill you in as well.
Yeah, Coach, no questions about injuries, but you mentioned it, year 10 for you. How do you go about it into year 10, keeping your message fresh?
Well, the message is fresh because it's a new team. And, when you have a new team, you have new ears, and you got new guys. We talked about it before. I think we've got 40 or 50 guys around maybe just completely new, first or second year. So I don't think you have to worry about your message staying fresh when you have the turnover you have, but you got to keep your message fresh based on what's changing in college football and offensively and defensively, schemes, things people are doing outside of it, and just the demands you have. So our coaches do a great job of changing things up, and I'll do the same with our guys.
Coach, in terms of going into fall camp, previous fall camps over the 10 years, what are some of the biggest changes and differences when you look at your responsibilities now in terms of what's delegated, what you handle, and how you train the team from almost like another era, I guess, 2016?
Yeah, I don't know that when you're asking specifically about fall camp, I don't know that fall camp changes from year to year. We're not changing a lot of what we do. Our number of players in camp is still a good, healthy number. Actually, we have more because we had limitations on what we could bring into camp previously, and we're going to have more people in camp than we typically do. We may not have as many kids when school starts out as we typically do. We'll start to drop there with the limitations, but my role has changed over 10 years, certainly, but not in camp. Camp is meant to be a grind, physical toughness, focused stamina. Can you stay awake in a meeting? Can you lock in? Can you learn from walkthrough to practice? Can you focus kind of on what's next? I think Coach Schumann and Coach Bobo both played a tape of some NFL players talking about, camp is really where you get to hone your skills and develop your skills, because within season, you're in a routine. You're trying to beat an opponent. Right now, you're not trying to beat an opponent. You're trying to better yourself. And the only way you can do that is really focus on the process of what's next.
Yeah, Kirby, you've talked going back to the spring about wanting to run the ball better and stop the run better. I guess, how have both lines of scrimmage kind of embraced that mindset going into the fall? And for you personally, what do you want to see out of both lines of scrimmage over the next few weeks getting ready for the season?
Yeah, I want to see improvement. I want to see experience. I want to see depth building. I We talk about it a lot. We've talked about it a lot in our messaging about what the standard is at Georgia in terms of it's not the number of runs as much as it is the efficiency of the runs. It's not the yardage given up rushing as much as it is the yards per carry. We want to be very productive in those two areas. Our best team since we've been here, they've been able to run the ball when they have to run it. They've been able to stop the run when they have to stop it. And that looks different in every game. So what do I want to see out of those guys? I want to see improvement. I want to see buy-in. It's a culture thing. You know, it's like you get what you demand, and we're going to demand that we stop it and that we're able to do it and run it.
Yeah, with Ryan and Gunnar, how do you go about preparing both of them to get the most out of them, given, you know, there's only one quarterback can play at a time, and you're balancing reps between the two of them?
Yeah, I think everybody in the country has that problem. That's not unique to us. So as coaches, you know, the problem is not getting the 1 and 2 enough reps. Absolutely, there's enough reps to go around. The problem is getting the 3 and the 4 enough reps to go around, and we have to be creative to do that. We have to ask more of our coaching staff. We have to be more organized and detailed than others to get, okay, while the 1s and 2s and 3s are going over here, can we get the 4th guy reps? When we're going 2-spot and we got 1s and 3s here and 2s and 4s there, how many reps can we get those guys? But as far as quality reps and getting Ryan and Gunnar reps, that's not an issue.
Kirby, going back to the offensive line, lost several veterans from last year's team. What do you need to see from that offensive line room over this next month?
I think them gel, them play with a chip on their shoulder. We talk about playing with an edge, passion, fire, energy, right? PFE is one of the things we're looking for. No greater position that you possess passion, fire, and energy than O-line. There is something about breaking someone's will or saying I have to move you from point A to point B. And movement is exactly that. Movement is what creates run game.
Kirby, you mentioned that it's hot. How have you all balanced over the years? I mean, obviously you could just say, we'll just go inside, but your games are outside. So how do you balance preparation, safety, and all that in terms of planning when you'll be inside and when you'll be outside?
Yeah, we face it. We face the heat here. We don't really run from it. We don't, you know, to me, the rules and regulations that have been put in place by safety, health boards across NCAA protect the players from that. I mean, look, as short as 20 years ago, we were doing two-a-days every day in both pads, outside. There was no indoor. So it's changed progressively to make it safer. You can't practice twice a day. You can't have pads on twice a day. So we need to face the heat and go. The practice intensity of the practices has increased because people know they don't have another practice that day. So with it being 1-a-day practices, and we have a walkthrough in between, but we do that indoors, we go face the heat. We're going to play in the heat. We don't run from the heat. And, you know, our practices are really tough in terms of volume and intensity because we get a lot of reps in a short amount of time.
Kirby, a couple of off-field matters. What is Jazeer Jackson's status after his arrest? And for the program, what is the process of cross-checking recruits that you decide to take commitments from? How do you proceed when things happen before they get here in terms of running into legal trouble? Yeah,
Jazeer is disappointed, obviously, in the decision-making process. He's being disciplined internally, but he's with the team. As far as the other, I can't really talk about recruiting, so I can't comment about those.
Yeah, what does this team need from Christian Miller this season, and how would you assess his leadership ability given how young you guys are on the defensive line?
Yeah, we need him to be a playmaker. We need him to be disruptive. We talk about havoc. We talk about quickness, speed, experience. He's our most experienced player. He has taken on this role of knowing the burden lies with him to set a standard for that group. And if we're going to be good up front and we're going to stop the run, it starts with that group. I mean, it's everybody, but it really starts with the defensive line and what kind of mentality that room has. And so far, he has approached that the right way. He did not get to go through spring because of a labral repair, and we're looking for him to have a great fall camp and push the other guys and help lead that room along with Jordan and Xavier and some of those other guys.
Yeah, with the inside linebackers, one, how have you seen CJ and Raylan really take ownership of that room with Smile now gone? And two, how do you as a coach, figure out how to use their skill sets, Chris Cole, Justin Williams, kind of get all those guys on the field and use their skill sets to the best of their ability?
Yeah, we've done that every year in that room. That room has been one of our strengths throughout the time we've been here. Schumann's done a great job recruiting. He does a great job developing. He does a great job packaging things to where you can get multiple inside linebackers on the field, and we play a lot of them. Naturally, there's 2 out there every play, but sometimes we have 3, and we'll continue to do that. We'll put the best players on the field. CJ and Raylan have been leaders since they got here. They just haven't had to be in the forefront. And last year, even with Smiles' injury, they were in the forefront more than a typical sophomore would be, and they both embraced that leadership role.
Kirby, 2 questions for you. How has the game changed since 2016 when you started? Not to get too deep into the X's and O's, but what have you seen in 10 years? And to that effect, was there any point this summer that you met with a NFL team or some of your college colleagues to talk about the game and maybe work on a certain area?
Yeah, the biggest area that's changed is the demand and decision making is put on a quarterback. I think 2016, you would have said RPOs were existent and people were doing them. They're at a higher rate now, but it's just a combination of motions and width of the formation. I mean, 2016, you were seeing 50, 60, 70% of spread out formations. They called it a spread offense because it was spread out. Well, now it's, okay, there's a taste of tempo in our league. There's a taste of shift motion. People are always moving sideways, trying to leverage the defense. Eye candy, I would call it, along with a decision for the quarterback. Do I hand it, A? Do I pull it, B? Or do I don't hand it, don't pull it, and throw it, C? They're getting 3 options on almost every play. So a lot of people don't, the average fan is not aware of the demand of what the quarterback's having to decide, and they certainly aren't aware of what the defense is having to defend, because the eyes of the defense have to be in multiple places. There's a play on this side of the formation, there's a play on this side of the formation, and then there's an interior play. So there's 3 plays, and the defense is having to defend more of it. So it's become tougher to defend. It's also become, probably less of a quarterback having to change the protection and play the quarterback position that the NFL would like to have, and more of a go tempo, dummy it down a little bit, and let the quarterback make easy decisions and make throws and runs that make it really hard to defend. So it's become much harder, and our game is trickling up to the NFL because you see it more and more in their game.
Hey, Coach, you keep talking about this fire, passion, energy, and have you seen it exhibited thus far in this summer going into fall camp, and do you feel it in your year 10 as you enter day 1 of fall camp?
Yeah, I feel it every day, because if you don't have it, it's hard to be successful. You can't keep up. Our staff has it. Our staff has great juice. We've had a chance to re-energize. That's what the summer's about. We're coming off of 3 to 4 weeks where we got to go be with our families before last week. But yeah, I see it in the players every day. And it starts with 110 heat index last week, seeing them out there running in that and facing it. And they don't always have it all the way through that 110 heat index with 5 or 10 or 20 53s they got to run, but they do push and challenge each other. That's what I've enjoyed about this team so far, is they're not afraid to hold each other accountable and get after each other, because they know that they're stronger together than they are apart.
I wanted to ask about the loss of your father and how that has affected you over here on the right, on your left, about the loss of your father and how that's been through getting ready for the season, and what it'll be like for you without him. I'm sure you've talked with him about football a lot and life as well. So what will that be like, do you think, and what has it been like?
Well, it's been unique. I don't talk to him a lot. I didn't talk to my dad a lot about football. He didn't want to spend time on that. I mean, if I wanted to talk about it, he was more than happy to. But he didn't bring football up a lot. He talked about my kids, his grandkids. He talked about his golf game and my mom and his relationship, which they would have had their 53rd anniversary a couple days ago, 2 days ago, and she's the one I'm concerned about. My dad's in a great place. And he's done a wonderful thing for so many people while he was here on earth, including me and my brother and sister. So he was an unbelievable role model. And, I miss him daily. I'm going to continue to miss him. But I know he's proud of the accomplishments of all his grandkids and kids. So my focus right now has been on my mom and her well-being.
Kirby, Oscar is a guy that could have gone pro after last season, comes back. What do you see as his role, not only as one of the veteran guys on this team, but the role he can play in this offense?
Yeah, running the ball. I mean, yeah, Oscar's a great player. He's gotten better and better. He has been a better leader. He got one of our most improved awards in terms of work ethic in the weight room and like the jumps he made. So he knows this is an important year for him. But, you know, for him, for us, is like have a why that can physically hold up and block, which no tight end likes to hear that, but the NFL loves that. They like to have somebody that's physical at the point of attack, and he is strong, he's physical, he's good in play action, he's tough. I mean, he has taken a lot of reps since being here at the University of Georgia and blocked a lot of good defensive players. So we need him to be a factor at the point of attack.
Kirby, your accomplishments are pretty well documented with the 2 titles, the 3 SEC championships, and all the records, unprecedented records you've set, undefeated seasons. What drives you? I mean, when everybody has bad days or tired days, I suppose, but what is that internal? I mean, you always talk about your players' why. What drives you at this stage of your career?
Yeah, it's putting the pieces together. It's like the puzzle of this team is different than the puzzle of last year, and being able to decipher the difference in the 2 teams and maybe what the wants and needs are from me. Like, what does this team need from me, and what does this staff need from me? Like, where can I be at my best for our team? That's my why, and you know, seeing a guy graduate. I just came over here, and Ernest Green's got 1 project left, and he's going to graduate this summer. And like that to me is like the be all and end all when these kids get an opportunity to graduate from the university that I went to, and they get a chance to start, play, and carry on their career afterwards. That's success, and there's probably not enough stories about that or self-gratification about that as opposed to when one fails or doesn't make it. And that's what my why is pushing these guys to get that piece of paper and also become better men.
With having the 54% freshmen and sophomores on the roster, first and second year players, does that change any of the approach for you guys as a staff in terms of trying to install things or find roles for guys that they can kind of take on without overwhelming them with the complexity of a system, or is it the standard kind of that it's always been?
Well, I think the way it is 54%, and it's a lot, and it worries me as a coach, but it's not any different probably anywhere else. It's not like anybody's sitting back saying, oh, well, we got 80% guys that have been here and 20% new guys. We have all, as coaches, evolved, and we have more kids coming in the spring. So we've done more with these kids than we've ever done before. I'm talking about spring, walkthrough. Post-spring this year, we even took it and said, you know what, we're going to do 30 minutes a day of football school. We're going to dedicate our time to like football school 101. So the onboarding and the process you go through, the summer plan, every minute we have by NCAA allowed, we use. And we have done more to this point with kids than we've ever done before. So, you know, am I worried? Am I concerned? Yeah, always worried, concerned about new guys, but we've onboarded guys, and we're going to continue to install at a fast rate because we want to see what they can learn, especially during this 2018-20 practice window, and find out who can play football and then move into the season of game planning.
Hey, Kirby, kind of speaking on that younger player thing, what is most important for those young guys to be working on during this part of the year in fall camp?
Mindset. It's the only thing they can work on because they're going to be overwhelmed by the speed, the tempo of practice. Can I fail and can I pick up and go again? And it's been seen over and over again. These NFL guys come in, how does he learn? How does he learn? How does he learn? And I'm like, well, they come from our program, they're going to learn well. They've had to learn well. But can they overcome failure and adversity? And so many of them come in with, because of social media, heavy accolades, heavy expectations, and the drop from how high they come in to where they fall to when they fail is so deep in depth that it's really hard to build them back. So we have to be really careful as coaches that we're make sure we point out when they do things right and make sure we explain to them that it's okay to fail. You actually grow through that failure, and a lot of our guys are starting to realize that.
Got time for one more question.
Kirby, as it relates to improving the run game, I know I sense that you guys are collaborative in the offensive coaches room when you're meeting. How have Phil Rosh or John Lilly helped in terms of ideas as they come from outside the program?
Well, they both have run backgrounds. Most tight end coaches in the National Football League either evolve into O-line coaches or tied into the run game. So both of those guys have great ideas in the run game, and it may not be a new run by design because there's, you can't reinvent the wheel. There's inside zone, outside zone, there's gap scheme, there's different ideas. We have a quarterback who allows us to do more. They both have been around systems that involve that. And they both, technique-wise, have different ways of doing things maybe than we do. And some part of it is who you play. Some part of it is what you call. Some part of it is how hard you play. So all that's a factor, and those guys have been great assets and will continue to be to help us improve that. Thanks.